quickly draw you in here. Do you also believe that this outlook by Sri Lanka is reflected through these gestures? Also, in a way, shows them, who their steadfast ally is and who their ally is without strings attached, unlike others like China, who perhaps have a pound of flesh to extract every time they offer any kind of help, actually an economic one, as they have done of late to the debt-trapped nation.
The Sri Lankan case stands as a clear proof because the Chinese engagement on these terms and the Indian aid and the Indian assistance in helping the Sri Lankan government emerge out of this crisis. Two cases they stand as clear contrasts. And I think it becomes very clear to the observers of foreign policy or geopolitics that how both of these countries have behaved whenever their allies have come in, they've faced a crisis. So I think this should definitely define the Indian approach and differentiate it from the other countries that use other countries' crisis as an opportunities. That's one thing. The second thing is this convergence of views between India and Sri Lanka on India's vision as a net security provider in the region. That while there may be other powers that are economically superior and which may have a bigger pull in the global on the global stage, but in India's neighborhood in the Indo-Pacific region, India has far more credibility as a country which can be reached out in the times of crisis, both security and economic.
Also, Prime Minister Modi has, of course, gone, Jahan Pereira, to the IPKF memorial. I think that again is is symbolic of the historic ties between India and Sri Lanka, the IPKF memorial there. Also, the fact that he's met with several members of the Tamil community and Tamil diaspora. I think that would also give a fillip to people ties between our two countries, isn't it?
Yes, definitely it would. I mean, the fact that he went, IPKF came at a time when Sri Lanka was in great difficulty. But I must also caution you that the memories of that period are very divided. Sri Lanka is very divided on that. The time of the ethnic war, and the role that India played at an earlier period. In the earlier period under Mrs. Gandhi, in particular, India, we believe, supported the Tamil Tigers, the Tamil militant movement. And at that time, India also has constraints because of Tamil Nadu. At that time, when we were fighting that war, it was countries like Pakistan and China that supported Sri Lanka with arms. So that is also there in our consciousness. So I think, it will be difficult for Indians to accept that. But, the Sri Lankans have a more nuanced view of a country like China. China, at about 50 years ago, there was a crisis in Sri Lanka where we didn't have rice, and then there was we exchanged our rubber for Chinese rice. So there is that memory also. Of course, more recently, China has put us into trouble by giving us a lot of big loans used for uneconomic purposes, mainly our fault, our government's fault, because they didn't have to waste the money the way they did, but China let them do that. And we got into this terrible debt trap. And then India stepped in. And India, ever since the war ended in 2009, India has been very supportive. India has been very mindful of Sri Lankan perceptions. But I do want Indians to realize, and they must not get hurt, that Sri Lanka will not only look at India for assistance. India will come first, but Sri Lanka will also be looking at other countries. US is our biggest export market, then followed by EU. It's not really India that we get, because we can't export to India because India produces everything we do. So therefore, we will be also keeping relationships with other parts of the world.
Joshi and Jahan Pereira, appreciate you both joining us with your perspectives on that big story. Meanwhile, the latest announced Trump tariffs are sowing fears of